You saw a guy that take tremendous strides throughout the course of spring. When you talk about coming back off the injury, just being available for practice, and then now being able to see the development and the things that we've been able to work on. But he's really, you can kind of put him in the freshman class, if you will, because he had the whole season off last year because of the injury and the surgery. And so now this is all new for him again. But the culture and the mindset, he's been able to adapt that. So he knows what goes into to the work ethic and how he has to be able to put that on full display, practice in and practice out. And then you see Carlon made tremendous strides towards the end of the spring. So I'm extremely excited about Carlon. I think he's going to be a big-time player for us.
We're talking to Dan about John and what he's showing, so much potential, but hasn't played a ton. What sense do you have for what you have with him at this point?
You got a big ball of clay, and then so you're excited about that because you can mold him the right way. When you talk about a guy that has that type of elite size and athleticism to match, I make fun of him all the time. I say Ja's the first big guy of that size, that stature, that I've never been able to call lazy. I mean, you talk about a guy with that kind of work ethic at that size, the ability to run and get out of the stack. We call them stack monsters, and he's probably led us in stack monsters. And so you got a guy that can run like that. We just got to clean up his technique, his hand placement, getting his hand speed from the ground to the man. Some of those things that we, are constantly working on and trying to improve in his game, and then also just teaching him the game from an above the neck standpoint. We've been talking to our guys a lot of times about pre-snap indicators and how can we should know how we're going to get blocked prior to the ball being snapped, which would allow us to play faster and never have poor footwork and playing underneath ourselves and things of that nature. And so just working on Ja from that standpoint has been big, but you've seen tremendous improvement in his game. And I'm really excited about what he's going to bring to the table for us.
How did you know he was the guy you wanted to go all in on and bring over here?
Because those guys with that type of body type, that kind of movement skills, and then good human beings, they're hard to find. And so when you get a guy like that, man, that you can develop, that still had years that you can have with him in terms of the development aspect, that's promising. And so those are the guys that NFL teams are all over because you can continue to develop those type of guys. And then there are good people to go along with that. I mean, that's a no-brainer for us.
What characteristics do the guys that you're looking for need to possess, even from the physical to the off-the-field stuff?
Yeah, we're not really, I don't want to say that the guys need to have a specific characteristic, but, physicality for me is a non-negotiable. I want physical football players because if you got physical football players and guys that play with tremendous effort, I believe I can coach you to do the things we need to be able to do on the football field. And so we have to have guys that are willing to be physical and that are willing to put in the effort. And I think we can coach those guys to be really good football players and develop them. I've coached one of those quote-unquote smallest guys, ever, to play the position. And then you talk about dominated from a physicality standpoint, dominated because of the effort, and then just was very coachable. And then you're looking at, a first ballot Hall of Famer. And so, you got guys like that have those things, that are willing to be coached, man. I believe you can get everybody there.
Cash Jacobson was one of the guys that potentially had a chance to play for you this year as a freshman. Where does somebody like him stand after 14, 15 practices that you guys had here this spring?
Cash had a tremendous spring. You saw a guy like Cash really start to turn the corner towards the latter parts of spring. I think it was really more so those with all of the young guys, just understanding what's required every day of them. As freshmen, the work ethic that goes into to becoming the player that they want to become. And then also just understanding the game, growing and learning the game. And I saw Cash take strides in that area. And you talk about a guy that has size, that has really good movement skills, just learning how to play with his length consistently. I think you're going to see a guy that's going to turn a corner and be a big-time football player.
I think before I got here, you were talking about Jakeem.
Yeah.
Okay. But Floyd was a guy that got mentioned literally every practice by somebody. Can you just talk about what you saw from him?
He is a special football player. He has elite feet, and you don't use the word elite unless it's real, like that's big time. And people don't understand how important that is, because a guy like Aaron Donald has elite feet, and when you have that elite feet, and then he has the physicality that goes into becoming a really good interior defensive lineman. He has natural pass rush ability. Floyd's going to be a big-time football player, and he's going to play on Sundays. I'm just telling you. And so that is exactly who he is. We just got to get him going from understanding of the game. He's a young guy coming from high school. The terminology, learning those things, and when we talk about the pre-snap indicators and understanding how you're going to get blocked before the ball is snapped. That's how our guys are going to play fast. And that's how they've learned. That's how they've been learning. And, we're not going to shortchange how we teach that to these guys. They have to be able to come along, but we're going to put in the work. And we got so many guys between myself, Coach Newell, and Coach Skylar Jones. We're pouring into them, and they're bought into it. And that's all you can ask. And I'm extremely pleased with Floyd as well as the rest of the freshmen.
Yeah.
When you're out there recruiting, I know you're looking for the physical skills and attributes, but how much does adversity and hardship come into the equation?
It comes into the equation a lot, because sometimes it tells you if a guy is going to tuck his tail and give in to the adversity, and that may not be a guy that has the mental strength that you're looking for, because football is hard. But then you see guys that persevere through those situations. Those are the guys that tend to, maximize themselves and get the most out of the situation that's been handed to them. And sometimes there's when you have that, and guys are really good football players or have the potential to be something special, those are the guys that you really kind of gravitate to, because we've seen those stories before. When things are tough, those guys persevere. And you can have that on your team, and it tends to spread throughout the team, and that's the cancer that you want, unfortunately.
Keyshawn said that he just felt a real kinship with you and a lot of similarity in background during the recruiting process. What was that like, kind of getting to know him and relating to him?
It was special. It was genuine. It was very emotional at the same time. And sometimes you can't hide those things. Sometimes you can't fake that. And so it's not called recruiting when it hit like that. It just becomes one of those deals where it was kind of meant to happen. I felt like it was a situation where God just put us in a place where we both met. And, he happened to be a guy that we really, really wanted in the portal, and who's a good football player. But then we shared a similar story. And at that point, it was like, it's a no-brainer. And so, he has been special for us. Unfortunately, he wasn't always available throughout the course of spring, but was there from a mental standpoint. He's very, very intelligent when it comes to his football IQ. The guy knows the entire playbook. He's very mature in terms of the way he handles his business. He's been a leader in that room. Guys respect him. He has a body of work that's been on full display. And he's gotten better with the individual drills that he's been able to do. You saw improvement in those areas. I can't wait to get him on the field, because I know he's going to be special, and he's going to be special for the group.
Gus Cordova's obviously not here yet, but he's another guy that is thought to potentially be a playmaker for you as a freshman. What does he bring to your room?
Gus is going to bring a tremendous skill set to us in terms of his versatility. His ability to rush off the edge, the physicality that he's going to play with. His football IQ. Again, Gus is a smart football player. Can't wait to get him out here and see how he responds to what we're doing. But in terms of the guy that has the work ethic that we look for, he's constantly grinding, sending workout videos and doing all of those things to prepare mentally. He's on top of it. He's been a pro about it. He comes from a great family that has a lot of love and support for him, and so we're excited about Gus. Can't wait to get him here, and just looking forward to coaching.
Overall, how do you feel like you transformed that unit here the last year in terms of depth, in terms of size, just from what you walked into to where it's at now and where it's going with this incoming recruiting class?
It is absolutely night and day, and it's exactly, what we wanted to do. That was the goal from day one. And I took the job here, and I was super blessed to get this job, working with Coach Newell and Coach Jones. That has been phenomenal. We knew we wanted to improve the size. We wanted to improve our athleticism. We wanted to create the versatility amongst the group. And we have it all now. Now it's about going out there and putting it on full display and, and hopefully staying healthy, because we know how key that is to go down the stretch, keeping guys together. And I think when you have a pretty defined culture like we have, and you have the guys know that there's a genuine love and appreciation for what they bring to the table, that's what keeps your team together. That's what we have. And so I don't really worry about, those type of things. I think we're gonna have a group that's gonna be unified, and they come to work every day, man. And so it's really fun coaching these guys.
You talked about it being emotional with Keyshawn.
Yeah.
What was the basis of it being emotional?
Just having similar stories in terms of I lost my mom when I was young and 9 years old, and he lost his mom, and didn't really have a father figure in my life, and same with him, and so we both had people that were blessed to be around us and sort of help fulfill those missing pieces, if you will. But it was just similar, man. It was similar. It was genuine, and it was just, we gravitated to each other. And so I felt him and felt his heart and his spirit. I knew he wanted to be great. I knew he wanted to be Coach Hard, and it was really a no-brainer. And when he finished his visits, but we knew from day one when we connected here on the visit that he was going to be here, and he let me know that, and he kept his word. He was a man about it, and very mature about the way he go about his business, and you got to respect guys like that.
Can you just run us through the evaluation process that you go through with guys that you're recruiting? Is it any different for the guys like a Cash Jacobson, who's not highly ranked, and a Jakeem Stewart?
Yeah. I don't want to give away, my secrets or our secrets in terms of how we go about evaluating guys, but...
Is it lengthy, though?
Yeah. Sort of lengthy. But I will say, we like guys that have that big body type guys that got really good movement skills, that are physical, again, that you can see the physicality, even if it's not always clean. We understand our job as coaches is to be able to clean up the technique, so we don't just shy away from guys that are extremely raw or raw in a sense. But as long as you have certain qualities that are important to us, it doesn't matter which star you are. In my career and all of it, most of all of these coaches, we've been around players or situations where, there were guys that didn't have any stars, and there's probably more of those guys in the NFL right now than guys that, that were highly ranked guys. And so it's really not about that, so when you can understand and having that experience of, diving into guys and drafting guys on the NFL level, I think that gives us an advantage on how we go about recruiting. And so that's why I don't really want to dive into that, because that's an advantage for us.
Keyshawn talked too about the connection that you guys had and how important that was. I wonder, when you were younger, when you were in Keyshawn's shoes, did you have a coach that kind of filled that similar role?
Yes, I had a coach. I had a high school counselor. I had my aunties. You know, I was super fortunate to have people that poured real genuine love into me. And so that's why I see it as my job to be able to do the exact same thing. It just comes in the form of a coach. And so when I get those opportunities to connect with young people like that, you know, I run to those opportunities. I gravitate to that because, you know, that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm back in college, because you get more of those opportunities with guys who are younger and who may need it more at such pivotal times in their lives, that you can truly be a factor. And so for me, it's bigger than football, and you get a chance to show that.
I'm sure you know how that has shaped you, but I wonder, knowing Keyshawn now, how can you tell that growing up the way it did, going through losing his mom at such a young age, has kind of shaped him?
Yeah, it's shaped him from a maturity standpoint. He responds to things the way that I used to. Like, I see a lot of myself in him. I see a lot of, you know, how he's a guy that's not gonna, you know, just open to anyone. He's not gonna, you know, just, you know, talk to everybody. You have to earn his trust, and when you earn his trust, he's gonna run through a brick wall for you. And so I understand that, you know, and that trust has been earned, and it's still being earned on both ways. You know, with me trusting him and him trusting myself and the rest of the coaches. And he's been doing a fantastic job. You know, when you see guys are happy around here, the way our guys walk around, they're excited, they're always in your office. Those are signs of guys being happy. Those are signs of guys, you know, they trust you. They've earned the trust. And as a coach, you can appreciate that because you know you're doing things the right way. And so that means a lot.
You mentioned the people who poured into you when you were younger. How did they pour into you that you feel like?
Just love, man. Love, great advice, wrapping their arms around you, being there for you when there's questions that need to be answered. You know, always, you know, available to communicate with you, pointing you in the right direction, making sure that you're walking the right line, checking up on you. All of those ways that a family would show love to your loved ones is the way that's revealed. And so it's been awesome.
It's clearly been a different recruiting cycle across the board for this program.
Yep.
How have you seen Chad Bowden in that department truly make a difference and transform things?
Oh, he's a dog. You know, he's a dog in his approach, and you know, he got that dog work mentality about him. You know, and he loves his job. And when you got guys that has that dog work mentality, they love their job, they're genuine, he's gonna be who he is. And so people understand that, people can feel that. And so, you know, it's been awesome. You know, he's got some really cool and creative ideas and a lot of experience from the different places that he's been. And so it's been great to have Chad around here. And so, you know, it's been really, really cool.
You guys have obviously the entire summer for you guys to develop and then fall camp, but in what ways are you confident that the defense in 2025 will be stronger than it was in 2024?
Well, anytime you're going into a second or third year within a scheme and you're able to do more because you got a good deal of guys coming back, you got some guys, you got, you know who your leaders are now, you know, guys are more comfortable with the scheme. You know, it's easier for the young guys to pick up on the defenses because players start to coach. And when your players are coaching players, then you know you're doing, you know, the team starts to transform. And so our players are coaching players. And so when those things start to reveal itself, it makes you know what to expect. You can expect a much better team, a team that's going to communicate effectively. And that's a big part of what we do around here from a communication standpoint, right? And then you have guys that can live out the examples of how it's supposed to be done because they've been a part of that. They know the expectation. And again, physicality is never going to be on the back burner. That is at the forefront of everything that we do. right? When you talk about the techniques, the base fundamentals, and guys being able to live that out, you know, it starts to run itself at that point.
Are there some guys you can name that are kind of leading the way with the coaching part and the
Devin Tompkins, Kobe Pepe, D. Nick has been tremendous. Kamari on the back end, Desmond and EG has been phenomenal. You know, I mean, all of the guys that have played in the system last year are leaders in their own right or in their own position groups. And so it's been phenomenal. Even Jade, like just Jade's confidence over a year. Cam Fountain, I mean, big old change in Cam. Cam is a leader for us now. The way he communicates, it's been night and day to see the growth of Cam Fountain. I am so proud of that kid. You know, the way he comes to work every day, the energy, the enthusiasm, his above the neck, like his football IQ has improved so much over a year's time to the point where, like, I mean, this guy's gonna have a breakout year. You know, like, I mean, we got some players, and when you can feel confident like that as a coach, to know like that you got guys. Shit, I mean, you know, it feels good.
What do you see physically with Cam that makes you think he's ready to truly break out?
Oh man, Cam's spring has been mind-blowing. I mean, it's been absolutely a thing of beauty. You know, his versatility, his confidence, you know, the physicality that he's played with, his availability, you know, I mean, his football IQ. I mean, he's got arrows going up in every category. Same thing with Devin. Same thing with Desmond. I mean, Jaden Walker. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about guys that are not even. I don't even coach that. It's been awesome to see, man. It really has been. So.
With Jakeem, how do you manage the expectations for a guy that comes in with that on a profile? Everyone thinks it's going to happen right away for him.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Well, there is expectations. He understands that there's expectations, but with those expectations comes urgency, and there's an urgency to get better. You know, he's gonna play, and he's gonna have a success as a freshman because he's that type of talent. I mean, there's no secret. You know, he was expecting him to go out there and get 20 sacks as a freshman. No. Is it possible for him? Yes. You know, and so who knows what that's going to look like. But he's going to be a big-time factor. He's a dominant football player. He just has to learn the game and clean up his technique. And we got a training camp to be able to continue to do that. And he's gonna have success.
Where did your relationship with him start?
Man, I've been knowing Jakeem since I was coaching with the Rams, and I got his mentor was my high school teammate, and so we go way back. You know, prior to me getting this job, I mean, I used to, you know, try to train Jakeem and talk football to him and things of that nature. So again, that relationship was long before USC. And so in my mind, I mean, I knew we were going to get this kid. You know, I knew we had a shot at getting this kid because of that, because of the young man that he is, in terms of knowing how important relationships are, you know, to him and his family. And so I felt really good about our chances because of that. And I'm just extremely fortunate that it worked out.
How old was he when you started working with him, talking?
I mean, he's only 17 now, so I mean, it gives, you know, who knows? But I've been knowing him since he was in the 7th and 8th grade. So yeah.
Could you even see then?
Oh, he's been big for a long time. You know, pause. But he's been a really good. He's had the size, the physical attributes, and his ability to play the game. You know, it's been on full display. I mean, he's been a really good football player for a long time.
Even still, it was a tough recruiting battle. What was the feeling when you finally got to the finish line and knew you had him?
It was it's like a woosah moment because you know you were going to battle. You know it was tough. You know that you know that teams were not going to give up on that type of talent, nor did you expect them to. And so but you always felt good, but you never wanted to just get comfortable. You know, it's like one of those just like, gosh, I feel like it, but you know, who knows? And so once it was over and he called and told us that he was coming, you know, I still was like, and not until I see it, you know, but I hear you, big dog. You know, I appreciate you. So it was awesome, and I'm so excited that we have him.
Where were you when that call came in?
I was here. I was actually in the office, you know, and he was at school and was like really 2 days before signing day, you know, that I knew for a fact, you know, but the whole recruiting process, you felt good, you just could never settle, you know, so, you know, anytime, you just know the communication, when the communication is always positive and it's ongoing, you know, you feel good about your chances.
It's so games in high school. Is there something he has to overcome now, having played together, or does it not maybe make any difference?
This guy here is different, you know, like I'm glad he played so few games because that's just less wear and tear on his body. And so at the end of the day, it's almost like, I mean, he's supposed to be in high school, junior in high school now, and this guy, you know, is advanced in terms of what he was able to do as a freshman in spring ball. Like the things you saw from this kid, you'd be like, what the hell? You know, and so you just know you got a good one. And so, you know, we're excited about it. We're excited about it. He's going to do some really good things for the next, you know, few years. So.
We've heard a lot about Devin Tompkins taking that next jump. What is that jump for him? What does that mean?
That means, I mean, he's ready, man. Knock on wood. You know, I pray over him and cover him because I'm just excited about the player and the person that he's developed into, the leadership role that he's took ownership of. But he's training Jakeem, you know, and what better guy for Jakeem to learn from than Devin? Because Devin and Jakeem has the same versatility in terms of being able to play every position across the front. And they both have the same brain power. And so having trained Devin last year, and now he's able to coach up this young man, as well as the other two coaches, as Noah and Coach Jones and myself. I mean, he is, you know, he has no choice but to have an increased level of urgency to get better. And so he's gonna be really good, man.
Just last one for me. Going back to this recruiting class, I know you can't talk about individuals, but the whole. How transformative could this group be for what you're trying to build?
It's huge. It's huge because you know, we're excited about, you know, all of the young men that we're recruiting, and we know they come from, you know, great backgrounds, great families. You know, it's everything that we're looking for, and it's going to be a continuation of what we've started here in terms of the 25 class and ongoing. And so just looking forward to finishing the race and you know, hopefully that works out the right way, and we're excited about what's to come.
Thank you very much.